Your child shows you a drawing. You say, "Good job," they finish their puzzle. "Good job," they put on their own shoes. "Good job," it feels supportive, it feels positive. But researchers who study praise have found something almost every parent gets wrong about this exact phrase. And it's not that praise is bad. It's that this specific kind of praise is quietly training your child to need you in the room in order to feel proud of themselves at all. Hey, welcome back, I'm Maya. Good job is probably the most repeated phrase in modern parenting. It's not malicious, it's not lazy, it's automatic, because we heard it constantly growing up too. But over the last few decades, developmental psychologists have studied exactly what different types of praise do to a child's motivation, confidence, and willingness to try hard things. And the findings point to something specific. It's not whether you praise your child, it's what the praise is actually about. Let's break down why good job falls short and exactly what to say instead. First, let's give this phrase some credit. Good job exists because it works in the short term. It's fast, it's warm, and it makes both of you feel good in the moment. Most of us say it dozens of times a day without thinking, because it's what we heard growing up. And because in a busy household, a quick good job is a lot easier than stopping to notice specifically what your child actually did. This isn't about guilt. Almost every parent, including me, says this phrase constantly. The issue isn't the intention behind it. It's what the phrase is actually communicating, or more accurately, what it isn't. Here's where it gets interesting. Psychologist Carol Dweck's research on praise and motivation, now one of the most cited studies in child development, found that the type of praise a child receives shapes how they respond to challenges later. In her studies, children praised for being smart after doing well on a task were significantly more likely to avoid harder tasks afterward, because failing at something harder would threaten the smart label they'd just been given. Children praised instead for their effort or strategy, how they worked through the problem, were more likely to choose harder challenges next, because their sense of success wasn't tied to a fixed trait that failure could damage. Good job sits in a strange middle ground. It's not quite ability praise, but it's not specific effort praise either. It's just approval floating without information. So what's the actual problem with it? 3 things. First, it's vague. Good job doesn't tell your child what was good. Was it the color choices, the persistence, the creativity, the fact that they tried again after it didn't work the first time? Without that information, your child can't extract a lesson from it. They just know you approved. Second, it's evaluative rather than descriptive. It positions you as the judge and them as being judged every single time. Over hundreds of repetitions, this can quietly train a child to look to you, or to any adult, for the verdict on whether something they did was good enough, rather than developing their own internal sense of it. And third, and this is the part parents notice, but don't always name, kids can tell when it's automatic. A reflexive, good job, delivered without eye contact, while you're doing something else, starts to feel like noise rather than connection. And some children stop registering it as meaningful at all. There's a more specific version of this worth calling out separately, praising the child instead of the action. You're so smart. You're such a good artist. You're a natural. This feels even more affirming than good job, and it's actually the riskiest version, according to the research. When praise attaches to identity rather than behavior, a child's self-worth becomes tied to maintaining that identity. Suddenly, getting something wrong isn't just a mistake. It's evidence against being the smart one or the good artist. Some children respond to this pressure by avoiding exactly the challenges that would help them grow, because those are the situations most likely to threaten the identity they've been praised into. So here's what actually works, based on that same body of research, and it's simpler than you'd think. Option 1, describe what you see. Instead of good job, try, you used 3 different colors for the sky. You kept trying different pieces until that one fit. You tied both shoes by yourself. This gives your child real information and lets them draw their own conclusion about whether it's something to be proud of, which, almost every time, they will. Option 2, name the effort or strategy, not the outcome. You worked on that for a long time, even when it was frustrating. You found a different way to solve it after the first way didn't work. This is the exact type of praise Dweck's research linked to kids choosing harder challenges later, because the compliment is about something they can control and repeat, not a fixed trait. Option 3, ask, don't tell. How do you feel about how that turned out? What was the hardest part? This hands the evaluation back to your child instead of delivering a verdict, and over time, builds the internal sense of I know when I've done something well that good job can accidentally outsource to you. Option 4, and this one surprises people. Sometimes, say nothing at all and just notice out loud. You built that whole thing by yourself. No judgment word attached, just an observation. That's often enough. Let's make this concrete with a few everyday moments. Your child shows you a drawing. Instead of good job, try, tell me about this part, pointing to something specific and actually listening to the answer. Your child finishes a puzzle. Instead of good job, try, you didn't give up even when that piece kept not fitting. Your child cleans their room without being asked. Instead of good job, try, I noticed you put everything back where it goes. That took real thought. None of these take longer to say than good job. The difference isn't effort on your part. It's specificity. I want to be really clear about something, because this point gets lost easily. This isn't about banning the phrase from your house or panicking every time it slips out. It will slip out, it slips out for me too. This is about building the habit of specific, effort-focused language as your default, so that when good job does happen, it's one voice among many, not the only kind of feedback your child ever hears. The goal isn't a perfect vocabulary. It's a shift in what you're generally paying attention to and naming out loud. If this changed how you think about praise, hit subscribe. Next week, I'm covering the exact same research applied to how we correct kids, not just praise them. Let's recap. Good job isn't harmful, but it's vague, evaluative, and easy to say on autopilot, which limits what your child actually learns from it. Praising ability or identity, you're so smart, is the riskiest version, because it ties self-worth to a fixed trait that failure can threaten. What works instead? Describe specifically what you see, name the effort or strategy rather than the outcome, ask your child how they feel about what they did, or simply notice out loud without a judgment word attached. None of this requires more time, just more specificity. And this isn't about eliminating good job. It's about not letting it be the only thing your child hears. If you've said good job 50 times today, same, honestly, that's most parents, including me. This isn't about guilt. It's about adding a few more specific phrases into the rotation. Comment with the phrase you're going to try first tonight, and subscribe for next week's video on giving feedback the same research-backed way. See you in the next one.